If you caught my read earlier this week on religious tourism, today's discussion is around the same topic, just a little deeper, a deeper dive, and maybe a few experiences that we can talk about. So, what really started me off on this topic was really the sheer presence of religious tourism as a part of the Indian tourism industry. It is today places of worship that are, the most visited. It is the commitment of the government to making these places a lot better, whether it is Ayodhya, whether it is corridors at, in Ujjain or Varanasi. These places have really got a backing to make them more accessible, more safe, and yeah, it's converting, it's showing. You have wide and varied demographics of people going there, different financial stratas, different age groups. Everybody wants to go and visit. Why is this happening? The first is the identity bias. It's not just a tick box in a checklist, it is who you are. It is today, given the social reflection of everything we do, when you're visiting these places, it really signals what your belief system is, what your thoughts are. And this is a very, very strong backbone of this religious tourism growth that we are seeing in our country. From there, we move to mental accounting. Uh, Travel by itself would be one of the first things one would trim in, in hard times or when expenses need to be curtailed. But suddenly you talk about religious tourism and it becomes more of gratitude, more of a duty. You've done something, you've been successful. The Indian culture is about going and thanking the Lord for it. Uh, the Indian culture is about, even when even when you're about to start something, even when you're in the middle of something, bowing your head to the Lord is something that's just makes us feel better about whatever we are doing. And that, therefore, in when we look at our finances, doesn't come as a leisure trip. That is something that's really far more core, and therefore these monies are always set aside, and people will do these trips however much they are cutting back. What comes next is the authority bias. uh, this isn't in the context of religious tourism, but given the nature of my job, I tend to travel to smaller cities to, look at the markets there. And I think what's been most fascinating for me is to see the level of the airports in smaller towns. They are clean, they are well maintained, they're orderly. There is absolute, and they're safe, and there's absolutely nothing that I'm missing out on or missing when I go, taking flights to these cities. And now, when you juxtapose this on the religious towns, it's the same thing. They are no more accessible. The airports are, I mean, you find nothing amiss there. And trains today, with the kind of trains we've got, I've taken trips in a manner that I can take a train just to experience the new level of trains that we today have connecting our cities. And that's just making these towns a lot more accessible to everybody. You no longer see it as a very tedious and tiring process to get to that place of worship. It's become a lot easier, it's become a lot more within reach. And all of this is coming from a place where there is backing by the country to make these places stand out. There are corridors coming up everywhere. Driving to these places are is so much simpler, and that's where that authority comes in. That somebody is backing it. That endorsement really pushes everybody forward. Okay. From there, of course, there's social proof. More and more people are visiting, and these people are talking about it. They're talking about the superior experiences, they're talking about the ease, they're talking about the safety, and they're talking about how it left them feeling at the end of that trip. And the more you see it, the more you believe that there might be something in it, and you'd like to try it out as well. Then there is scarcity bias, though I've written about and spoken about how it's today not just linked to specific festivals, but you see this, religious tourism through the year. But there are very many days when we believe that those moments of worship are different from any other day. And there is where your scarcity bias comes in, because you want to be there on that day and get those blessings. And that's why you will see people booking way in advance to make sure that they don't miss out on their chance to be there on a particular day. And finally, you have the default bias coming in, because when things are so easy, when you know it's so, it's not even a thought to be able to take that train there or to drive down there. Everything's become so easy. It just becomes the obvious choice for the next trip rather than anything else. Let me know if you've had the opportunity to experience any of these newly developed, rewritten, places of worship in India. How has your experience been? um, if I have to be totally honest, my experience has been more related to work than actually going to a religious place of worship in the recent past. But the way I'm seeing the development in the cities, it's no shock for me that religious tourism has also become a lot more uh, easy, a lot more uh, comfortable, and at the end of the day, very, very rewarding.